Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Team Comp Tuesday, the series where every Tuesday we show off a different team. This week we have quite the... I don't know what to think about this team. It's good and it's fun, but it is the most cooked up wild shit we have ever shown on the channel, so I hope you're excited for some tomfoolery. Full disclosure, today was 100% just going to be a standard Xaio hyper carry build, but then I watched some Zajeff content as I usually do at 3 a.m. scrolling in my bed, and I found this absolutely cooked, crazy hyper bloom Xaio setup, and I was like, this is the episode for this week. This thing is just crazy, and his banner's out, and this will be fun. Next week will 100% be out Hytham though, but the banner's not out as of the recording of this video, so worry about that later. But yeah, this is a hyper bloom build that uses an elemental mastery Xaio to trigger the hyper bloom seeds for damage. Oh yeah, this is some crazy stuff right here. We are like 6 or 7 levels deep on this craziness. This is a special one. Alright, let's get to the builds. Let's start it off with the Xaio, because this is just the wackiest sauce, and I'm having so much fun with this team. This is so silly. Weapons, Favonius Lance. You want that energy recharge and those energy particles to fuel the burst, because you need the burst infused auto attacks to actually swirl the electro onto the seeds to be the person to trigger the reaction. Artifacts, we're running 4 Viridescent Venerer with Elemental Mastery across the board, as much as you can get. Maybe a little bit of energy recharge, a little bit of crit rate in there, just the old nice stuff, but as a general rule, VV as much EM as humanly possible. And talents, I have my Xaio Triple Crown because he is one of my favorite characters, but for this, I guess you technically only really need to level the burst and the auto, but just level all of Xiao's stuff if you're gonna play him. This in his other teams he'll use absolutely everything and it'll be worth it. If you want to be stingier, you don't have to. The E without C6 isn't gonna be the craziest part of your damage, so you could leave this leveled a little bit lower and just focus on the normal attack and burst. But man, this build is wacky and it's fun. Alright, and now, well, Xaio was very untraditional, for him at least. The rest of the characters are going to be very traditional to their archetypes. So next up is our Electro character. Fischl being the best option, as always, as Fischl's just generally the best option for these kind of teams. EM Raiden wouldn't be awful here, either, if you prefer to use full EM Raiden. But because Xaio will be the one triggering the seeds, you kind of don't have to run a character that can trigger like fully Raiden to trigger seeds, so you can run Fischl for extra damage. Weapons, any crit rate or crit damage bow is the way to go. Stringless, if you don't have any of those, is perfectly fine. Good substat for the little bit of quicken she'll be causing, as well as a good passive on it. Artifacts, kind of any damage artifacts are fine, honestly. Any attack combination, electro combination. Thundering Fury is okay. You totally could go for Thundering Fury on this setup, just whatever you have better substats on. If you don't have a full good Thundering Fury setup, I recommend just two-piece. I think in general, two-pieces tend to be underrated in this game. And then also relatively standard setup, crit rate, electro damage, and attack. If you have a good EM Sans with really good stats, you can totally use that instead. And for talents, you really only care about Oz's level. I should really do this level. But you really only care about Oz's level. You don't have to level the burst because you really are just using the burst to get another copy of Oz, so that's not a big deal. Alright, and next up is Nahida. Other Dendro options are available. We'll talk briefly about them in a second, but Nahida is your main option as she is the best, as she's just in general the best Dendro applier. Weapons, Sack Frags is my personal favorite. Favonius Codex also being a very solid second option. You could also run her on like her signature if you have it. Artifacts for Deepwood is the way to go. And some combination of either elemental mastery sands, and then either a dendro or elemental mastery goblet and a dendro or elemental mastery circlet, kind of just based on whatever you have better stats on, is what you go with. Talents, her E and her burst. Her E is the priority. I need to level this up. Just I have a lot of characters that all want to use this stupid horn mat right here, so trying to ration them, but her E is her most powerful ability, so that's definitely the one worth leveling up. If you don't have Nahida, don't worry, you can use the Traveler for this. Dendro Traveler is still a very solid Dendro unit, even after the release of Nahida. Dendro is a little weird. I'll probably make a separate discussion video about it at some point, but Dendro isn't necessarily judged the same way the other elements are. But anyway, weapons here. Favonius Blade is what I would recommend. It'll help Xaio with his energy, help Traveler with their energy. It's just good all around, because their burst is quite expensive. Same thing, Deepwood Memories with Elemental Mastery, with the difference being energy recharge on the sands, and then Dendro damage again, and then either crit rate or crit dam, whatever you need. Talents, level up E and burst. Just a slight thing to note with the burst is the burst takes on a different property depending what element you hit it with following its application. Generally, you want to hit it with Electro, but it's fine if you hit it with Hydro. Just ideally, you don't want it to get hit by Pyro, as then it'll go away and you'll lose your Dendro application. But, you know, it's perfectly fine. Traveler's a perfectly fine option, but use Nahida if you have her. And last but certainly not least is Xingqiu. I do highly recommend using Xingqiu for this, not Yelan, because you do want the healing. The minor meta healing and damage reduction from Xingqiu will make this team a lot comfier to play. Weapon, Sack Sword, best in slot. I would probably use this over basically anything. If you don't have it, then any energy recharge sword is probably fine, because you want quite a bit of energy recharge. Artifacts, you want 4-piece emblem on him. I just have a 2-piece Noblesse, 2-piece Heart of Death, since I have better substats on that personally than like my 5th emblem set or whatever. Crit rate or crit dam on Circlet, Hydro damage on Goblet, and then either energy recharge or attack on the sands, depending on how much energy recharge you have. I personally prefer to be way over energy recharge amounts than be struggling for it, but realistically you probably could go 20-ish energy recharge lower if you want to put more damage stats on him. Talents, recommend leveling up E and burst, as they are both very good skills that do a lot of damage and can contribute to a lot overall, and are just very good in every team he's used in. Alright, and now we're going to do a rough rotations showcase. There isn't anything super important with this team to remember, besides just the fact that you want to make sure you use Xaio Burst after everything else, and you want to be using Nahida and Xingqiu's stuff before you use Fischl, because Fischl actually has a slightly shorter cooldown, or longer cooldown on her, shorter duration, excuse me, than the rest of them on her stuff. Yeah, you see how fast that was? That's this team is the stupidest, silliest stuff I've ever played, and I absolutely love it. I'd be a little bit careful with killing yourself with healing, but maybe a future Dendro healer can make this a little better. Haha, foreshadowing. But you'd lose damage, so I'd probably still run this setup and just learn to suck it up and not die. Pray. But man, this team is wacky. Alright, everyone, that is going to do it for me here today. I hope you enjoyed this build. This build is wacky, but oh boy is it fun. I'm probably going to be playing this for the next couple days at the very least, and maybe even use it this Abyss cycle because it is wonky. Although, it does take Xaio away from my Hu Tao team, so maybe not, but we'll see. Next week should be an Alhaitham, and then I think I'm going to stagger them. So like Alhaitham 1 week, then Xaio, then Alhaitham, then Xaio, and then we're going to do Hu Tao. We have a lot of builds to fit in before the end of this patch, because I ideally want to completely cover Xaio, which we have 2 more weeks of Xaio. We have 2 weeks of Alhaitham at least, because we have Hyper Bloom and Aggravate teams, supposedly, and possibly even Burge. And we got a lot of teams coming out. And then we got Deja next patch. So the next like 8 weeks or something are pretty set in stone for what characters they're going to be. But I want to thank you for coming out. I hope you enjoyed this video, this look at this wacky team. And I hope you have a great day.